Hi, and welcome to the Human Side of Business podcast. I'm Ange McCabe, CEO and co-founder of Intuity Performance. I'm a performance coach, HR professional, whole person leadership facilitator, and your host. The Human Side of Business podcast is fueled by the genuine curiosity to understand how personal characteristics and skills can be leveraged to drive individual and team performance, tangible outcomes, and ultimately organizational success within business. Each podcast is devoted to sharing knowledge, expanding our learning edges, and exploring the trends in corporate culture towards growing the emotional intelligence of organizations. I'm so glad you're here. A Business Podcast. I'm your host, Ange McCabe, and today I had the pleasure of introducing you to Scott Rust. He's the owner of Scott Rust Coaching. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Ange.
How's it going?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
Doing good. Now, I want to identify to our viewers and subscribers that we have some great news to share.
We do, don't we?
So we've been building and discussing and chatting and gelling over the past few months. And so Intuity Performance wants to announce that we're going into partnership with Scott Rust. And Scott Rust will be joining the Intuity Performance brand as of today, October 1st. And we're so excited.
Yeah, cue the cheers. I love it. I'm really excited to be becoming part of Intuity Performance. And I think, we've had a lot of discussions around the vision for Intuity Performance. I'm really excited to contribute to its success.
Exactly. Likewise. So I think that everyone should get caught up kind of where we're coming from with Intuitive Performance and what it's going to look like in the next few months. So Scott and I first met at Coaching Out of the Box, which is an executive coaching accelerated certificate, which is recognized by the ICF. So that's our accrediting body, the International Coaching Federation. So Scott, tell me, when we first met through Coaching Out of the Box, what was your first reaction?
No, that's a good question, Ange. And just to give maybe a little further context on that. So I know the Coaching Out of the Box program was like a 6-month online program.
Yes.
Where we were actually, I think we were meeting up at least twice a week,
yes.
Part of the same cohort throughout those 6 months. And that was back in March of last year. So March 2019, I think we started that together. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that there was about 8 or 9 of us that went through the entire program together. And I know one of the things that stood out for me, at least when looking at you as a coach, right from the beginning, I thought you had a lot more experience in coaching already. Just the way that you showed up and presented yourself, and you were very confident, very succinct with the way that you spoke, and always was asking really good questions. So I think I might have mentioned this to you in the past, where I was actually a little intimidated by you at first. And part of the program was actually to break out into coaching groups outside of the program sessions and like practice coaching on each other. And I was always looking forward to the time when we would meet up, because I thought that would help me grow by actually trying to coach you or being coached by you. Mm-hmm. So that was that was fun. It was interesting.
Definitely. And thank you for all the compliments. I know that since then, I guess people can tell that there's a bit of banter back and forth between us. And there was almost an organic relationship from a professional perspective that grew from Coaching Out of the Box. And, when I first met you, I could tell that you were a bit reserved, and that's okay because everybody shows up differently. But it intrigued me because when you spoke with thought and you spoke with purpose. And I could see very quickly throughout the cohort how fast you grew and how far you wanted to go with it. So I seen that there was so much motivation within you. And I remember there was at one point we were talking within the cohort. It was just a sidebar. And I think it was one of the checkouts. So just to bring everybody up to speed, a checkout within these cohorts would be almost like an accountability checkout. So what are we going to do with what we learned this session? You had mentioned about getting a coaching partner. And to me, that meant a business partner where I kind of piped up and said, hey, I'll be your business partner, just as a joke. And so it was funny from a communicative perspective that you were like, at first you were like, no, I want to partner with someone local. And you were still talking about genuinely just getting a coach. Whereas I'm thinking business minded and I'm building a business. And so it was kind of a funny anecdotal story because here we are now announcing the partnership.
Yeah, no, that is a funny story, Ange. And to your point, in my mind, the way that I understood your question Scott, let me be your coach. That's really what I was looking for was, as a coach, I believe in coaching. And I wanted to invest in a coach that had greater experience than I did. And I think at that time I was evaluating somebody in the local community to hire as my coach.
Yes.
So it's interesting how you saw it as like a business partner coach, where I wrote back to you. I think it was like, no, Ange, I'm looking for a coach. Where you're like, well, I'm a coach. So like, what's going on here, Scott? But it's funny how, how things work themselves out. And, here we are, wow, almost a year and a half later, and embarking on this partnership together.
Exactly. And I thought it was so cool because within our cohort, many of us kind of hung out on a LinkedIn group on the side where you and I started talking more about business because we were going and experiencing the same thing, just in different provinces, you in Ontario, myself in Nova Scotia, in the sense of bouncing ideas off of each other to start with. So, hey, Andrew, you're experiencing this. Oh, Scott, did you experience that? What about this? And from there, I was really honored that you approached me to talk about a joint webinar. And so that was a super cool project to work on with you, because at that point I could really see that if you commit to something, then you're going to bring it to the final stages and you're going to bring all of your energy with it. So it was really fun to do How Professionals Navigate from Stress to Success webinar. I felt it was really successful, and I was super excited to see, okay, what's next? I have to admit it was really hard for me because the type of person that I am, if I see an end picture, I can see it pretty quickly. I knew where I wanted to go with Intuity Performance. It took a lot of inner strength for me just to kind of hang back and wait to see what is the next kind of logical project for Ange and Scott to work on in the professional coaching space. I'll let you kind of jump in here, Scott, and tell everyone what was the next step.
Yeah, for sure. And I think to your point, Ange, it just shows how I think we complement each other really well as partners, where I do, and I've seen it, where you are very good at visualizing that future picture and seeing what it looks like and really making it tangible. Where I think for myself, I'm the opposite, where I'm much more, okay, well, what is the next step? Where Angie's like, no, I'm thinking about 10 steps ahead. So I think we definitely complement each other in that point, and being able to, maybe take a couple steps back and then help push me a few steps forward and find that happy medium. Mm-hmm. And I think we experienced that just as part of this research project that we were doing, where we were actually conducting surveys and interviews with software developers and engineers, as well as health practitioners.
Yes.
And I think part of the purpose of doing that survey was just trying to see different ways of what are maybe some of the challenges that are coming up for them, and can we see coaching as a good fit in addressing these challenges. And I know one of the things that we noticed, maybe more specifically with software developers and engineers, is just this need to understand a little bit more about, well, what is coaching and what do you mean a coach and what does that look like? And I think we got varied responses from people in terms of, I coach people all the time, or maybe it fell into maybe more of a training or a mentoring piece there. And I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on that now.
Yeah,
findings we've had.
I can certainly echo that. It's been an interesting project, both from the primary findings piece of it, but also as an entrepreneur in the space of looking to fail fast. So the intent of our research is to really identify how do we serve developers and engineers better and give them the tools that they need to manage things like workplace stress, prioritization, communication in the workplace, all of those soft skills that we tend to have opportunity for growth in any space, but especially in that space right now, because the stats show us that this industry is growing at the fastest rate in comparison to others in the next 3 years, especially. So from that, I tend to agree with you, Scott, in the sense that, we definitely see some opportunities there. It's really trying to make sure that we're approaching that industry from a place of evidence, which is why we're doing the research there, and then also to the value. And that's an ongoing project that we're working on right now, as well as in the practitioner space, which echoes the same. Very much comparable, somewhat, in the sense of some of the same pressures, the pace of work, some of the client demands. And we're seeing the same thing, that there's a heavy need for education of what does coaching mean? How do I access it if I'm not an executive? And what about the pricing? So those were some top things that have already come out, but we see some natural fits in the sense of the needs that are currently coming up in the 2 research studies that we've put out there.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point, Ange, and, taking even a step back, it's, the world is moving at a faster pace now than ever. Mm-hmm. And, we're seeing more and more people are just, we're all kind of struggling to keep up. So I know for myself, at least, maybe I'm a little biased because I am a coach, but I do see, coaching as really being able to be that partner or that person that helps you continue to elevate your skills and improve your performance. So I think that we've already started seeing that with some of the clients who we work with, and looking forward to bringing that together under the Intuity Performance umbrella.
Exactly. And I noticed, like, one of the big things that came up through this research project for me was that you and I had automatically created very forward expectations. So we talked about the possibility of a partnership, but we didn't put any constraints on each other. There wasn't any demands. There wasn't any negativity around anything that we were doing. It was just kind of like, we'll test it out. We'll see how we work with each other and kind of go from there. What I thought was really cool, and one of your superpowers that you bring to the table is like, okay, well, what's the deadline that we actually have a formalized conversation? And I was kind of, I was not taken aback, but it made me think. And that's what I really enjoyed, because it's like, okay, let's anchor this. If we're going to do this, then let's call it. And I enjoy that because it matches my energy. You're very, specific and succinct in the decisions that you make, going fast. And I can see that larger vision and push forward and question, well, why can't we do it? Let's just do this. So I think that was one of the pivotal moments for me, in the sense of, this is going to work. This is going to work, and we're going to go great places. So I think it was, if I recall correctly, it was the beginning of July, we decided that formally we were going to go into the partnership. And that's when we started looking at what's our strategy, what's our approach, and, where are we going with this in the next year?
Yeah. And I think to your point, since then, and what really, I think, sparked that conversation was this idea that, we were both working in 2 different silos on the same thing. Mm-hmm. We both had different skill sets that we were offering our clients. And it kind of came to a point where it was like, well, why are we working separately on the same thing? And, what value would we be able to provide to the organizations that we're working with and the coaching clients that we have, or, the HR services that we're offering? What impact would that have on them if we actually came together instead? Mm-hmm. And I think that's really what sparked the conversation, saying, okay, if it adds more value for the people we're serving, then let's take a step back and say, okay, well, how can we make this work between the both of us? And, part of any partnership, I believe, is you have to have some of those hard conversations, which I think that, we both kind of pushed maybe a little bit outside of our comfort zone in having some of those conversations, and, being able to kind of come back and say, okay, I understand how you're feeling, and this is how I'm coming at it, and really trying to, almost taking it like a coach approach, mm-hmm. and trying to help, partner together to coming to a resolution and coming to a solution. I think going through that really helped put a lot of belief into the future of Intuity Performance, and belief that, okay, if we're able to get through these kinds of conversations this easily, then I'm really looking forward to just keep moving forward in this partnership with you, Ange.
Exactly. And I'm kind of smiling as you move through that piece of the conversation, because I genuinely believe if we didn't have the coach approach with us, that some of the conversations may have been too uncomfortable, because there's a lot of things that you have to talk about when you're getting into a partnership, not just how much money can we make, because that's not what it's about at all. The fact that we could put on the coaching hat and play in the uncomfortable edge and lean into that edge, I thought was, to be blunt, I gained a lot of respect for you and for, where Intuity Performance is going. And I appreciated the fact that it was a bit of fun as well. In some circumstances, it was, okay, are you coaching me? Are you coaching me right now? And in other circumstances, it was just a genuine appreciation for each other's strengths, in the sense of, hey, what's coming up for you? And how can I make this easier right now? So I think that lended to your point, just echoing the same, a really easy start to the partnership, which I'm super excited about.
No, same here. And I think it leads us, or segues into a conversation that we've had just around our vision.
Yes.
And what we're looking to accomplish with Intuity Performance. And I know with yourself, you already had a vision for Intuity Performance. So I'd love to maybe have you share with some of the listeners some of the things that you shared with me and
Certainly.
what we're looking to accomplish.
Okay. It's hard just to talk about the first year, because I don't think just in the first year. I think in the first 5 years. So I'll try to dial it back. In the first year, in the partnership between you and I, Scott, and Intuity Performance, the real vision for us, as we both know, is to educate our industry around the offerings that we have from a coach approach. So the coaching from the workplace training, so the HR piece of it and the best practices in elevating companies and teams, and then the facilitation piece. So we have the trifecta that's going for us with Intuity Performance to really build on what we call whole person performance. And we'll get into that in a later episode. I know that I can talk a lot, so we'll keep it to the partnership side of it right now and the vision. Forward thinking, we've had a lot of conversations in the past couple months with regards to disrupting a lot of the models that are out there. And I'm so excited. I cannot wait for the next year to share that with our potential clients and our current clients, because I think we're onto something in the sense of ensuring that especially coaching is accessible to everyone, because it's really about partnering with the right tools and resources to elevate our performance. And it's called whole person performance because it's not just about hard skills. And as you can tell, I'm so passionate about this. In the next 5 years, where I see Intuity Performance going is, naturally there should be and will be growth. So, we have the means, and there is a silver lining to COVID, because online business operations are more acceptable now than they ever have been. And we're already exporting. So I'm already exporting out of Nova Scotia, and you're already exporting out of Ontario, which is fantastic, which has also lended our abilities to facilitate for organizations like Sephora, Microsoft, and a couple other big box companies, which has been so fun. And then on top of that, looking to what other types of resources can assist us in learning our soft skills and transferring those soft skills so that we can action them on a daily basis. And so there's been things that we've talked about in the sense of artificial intelligence and research of the same. There's been other things with regards to, exporting further than North America, and then also charitable perspective, ensuring that our next generations are equipped with the proper soft skills to manage stress, because we know that mental health, especially going through a pandemic, can be detrimental on not just adults, but children as well.
No, that's well said, Ange. Just trying to see if I have anything to add there, but I think you really covered everything. And I love the word you use around the trifecta between, not only offering coaching, but also bringing in the facilitation, where we're actually working with teams and organizations and helping elevate the performance of their employees. Mm-hmm. Third piece there around the workplace training and the HR background that you bring to the table, and that you're able to help organizations on that piece as well. Mm-hmm. I think bringing those three things together really gives us a good tool belt to choose from and to work with.
Exactly. And, don't forget or downplay your skill sets in the sense, Scott, that especially from an organizational design perspective, it's really important to tie your people objectives into your strategic objectives. And that's where your skill sets come in from a business development and operational perspective. So I don't want us to downplay or discount that either. When it comes to the next year, what I'm really excited about, and what happens behind the scenes, I guess I'll take a step back first, is that the thing that I'm most grateful for is on a weekly basis, minimally, you're challenging me. And it's not just challenging me in the sense of, did you get this done? Not at all. But it's like, all right, and what's going on today? And it's natural for me to be vulnerable with you now. And you take that very positively and challenging me to the next level or to the next step. And I have the benefit of doing the same to you. So with Intuity Performance, in the next, 3 to 6 months, where do you see us really kind of positively challenging each other?
No, I think that's a really good question. I have to echo what you mentioned in terms of weekly growth and always just trying to push each other just a little bit further than where we were. And to be honest, I think that practice that we have within our organization kind of relates to the work that we do outside of the company as well, and to the employees that we work with, to the coaching clients that we take on. We're always looking at ways that, how can we help you not make these drastic changes overnight that for most part are unsustainable. And I kind of have this mantra I've said in the past, where it's progress over perfection. Mm-hmm. And it's identifying those small changes, which over time will provide exponential results. And I think that's really what we're bringing to the table, and part of what we're focused on, at least for the next 3 to 6 months, is working a little bit more with some of these software developers and engineers, is working closely with different health practitioners, whether they be chiropractors, massage therapists, physiotherapists, and so on. Mm-hmm. And really trying to help empower them to, help either grow their business or just elevate their performance through whole person performance coaching. That's what I see for us over the next 3 to 6 months.
That's fantastic. In the spirit of challenging.
Do you have a challenge for me, Ange, or do I have a challenge for you?
I don't know. We kind of bantered about this offline.
we did, didn't we? I brought this to the table, and I thought it'd be interesting to bring this up in the podcast, is to actually end with a challenge. Mm-hmm. Where here we are, we're partnering together on this new endeavor. And, we've talked a lot about pushing each other outside of our comfort zones. And what I'm bringing to the table is I would like to challenge you and myself as well, mm-hmm. to see who can book 20 free coaching calls. Okay. So offering coaching experiences. Like we've said, part of our goal is to help educate people about coaching. And I always say, I'm really bad at explaining coaching, but I can show you. So I think, would you be up to taking this on?
So is this like a negotiate, accept, or reject situation? Or yes, no?
I would say it's a negotiate, accept, or reject situation. We'll take that coach approach there that you're bringing up as part of a program we had, a coaching out the box.
Exactly. Just a total joke. Of course, I would accept that 100%. What our viewers do not know about us is how competitive we are. And inherently, I'm not a competitive person, but there's just something with this Scott Russ that brings out the competition in me. So to help me out with my 20 complimentary coaching calls, let me get ahead, audience. Please email me at info@intuityperformance.com, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or I'm on Instagram as well under Professional Coach Nova Scotia, and also on Facebook under Intuity Performance.
Anything else to add to your pitch?
I've been said to, and there's my references on my LinkedIn, but I've been said to listen extremely well and quickly be able to identify or partner with coaching clients to identify root issues or things for growth, and being able to bring them from realization to action.
Well, Ange, based on my experience, I can't argue with you there. But if anybody else is looking for maybe a different approach, I'd be more than happy to connect with me. You're not the only one who gets to say her pitch. Just reach out to me on LinkedIn at Scott Rust. I have a development coach on LinkedIn at the moment. So if you're looking to develop maybe some better business habits or things along those lines, do feel free to reach out and let's get this challenge started.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Scott, for joining me today and sharing our great news with our audience. I really appreciate what you have to bring to Intuity Performance and to our subscribers. And for those who would like to learn more about our continued offerings, please subscribe through our website at intuityperformance.com. And we're going to be updating our website swag with Scott Rust as well in the coming weeks as we work through the partnership. And I'll certainly, in the meantime, provide on this particular podcast the post Scott's contact information as well for anybody that would like to reach out to him directly. And thanks for everyone for listening to the Elevate Business podcast. I hope you enjoyed the program. You can subscribe to future podcasts at intuityperformance.com, where you can also sign up for webinars and learn more about professional coaching and the whole person performance solutions, available to help fire up your whole person performance skill and drive actions for success. Until next time, stay true to you and take care of each other. We are all better together. Thanks for listening to the Human Side of Business podcast. I'm glad you could join us. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay updated with our latest content, make sure to visit our website. The link can be found in the episode description, where you can subscribe to the podcast, sign up for our newsletter, and learn more about our whole person leadership services. Sounds interesting? Explore the Whole Person Leadership Cohort by Intuity Performance, a unique program that offers unparalleled support to managers on every step of their leadership journey. Our program features evidence-based assessments, workbooks, group coaching, and interactive learning experiences to help you level up your leadership skills. Reach out today to apply to one of our upcoming cohorts. Until next time, take care and stay curious.